Alright, sorry about that, everybody. We had a bit of an internet hiccup. So, here we go. We're gonna just get in there at this part and get in there. Alright. So, Da Vinci says she's going to head to Salisbury, and it should only take her a moment. Gordolf says that Da Vinci should take someone with her for protection. Whether it's Grimm, the Nemos, anyone. He even offers to go himself because it's just too dangerous to go alone. Da Vinci thanks him, but says she'll be fine. She knows Salisbury like the back of her hand, and she's just gonna fly down, grab her stuff from the bar, grab Habitrot, and jetpack back up. Easy peasy. Mike is here in his shop. He's talking about how the town is burning down around him. About how all the fairies have gone crazy and attacked each other. And how he knew this kind of thing would happen. He knew that the fairies were all naturally cruel, and that this would happen eventually. He's lamenting the fact that everyone's going to disappear. That all those fun days are going to end and come to a close. He's sad that his shop is no longer going to be open, and he's not going to be able to be the shopkeeper for everyone anymore. Whew. I was somehow able to find this place. Man, Gordolf really was right. Salisbury's gone downhill. Da Vinci's come home! Yay! The second Da Vinci walks through the door, Mike cheers up immediately. Da Vinci says she's glad to see Mike. She knew he would be fine because he's a good fairy. He'd be able to keep his head clear. Mike talks about, yeah, exactly. I was even thinking of more products, and I came up with something completely original. And he describes Gillette, which is a French dessert. Da Vinci praises him and says, that's an entirely original and unique idea. Not only that, but it's very complex. She says for Mike to come up with that all on his own means that he's progressed greatly. Mike thanks Da Vinci for teaching him to be a good fairy that could stand on his own, and it's all thanks to her that he's been able to succeed. She says, "All right, you're praising me a bit too much now. I'm just gonna head upstairs now." Da Vinci, where are you going? Is there something on the second floor? Da Vinci says she just came here to pick up some stuff she left. Her familiar Tifone and Habitrot. She's gonna quickly grab them and then return. Return? Return where? She explains she's gonna go back up into their ship in the sky, because they still have to purify those calamities. She says, "Oh, that's right. I ran it by Gordolf before, but Mike, do you want to come with?" But Mike says no. He likes it here. He wants to stay in his shop. He likes being a shopkeep. He even says that the outside world is bad, and he has a safe underground room in the shop. So, nobody should go outside again. Da Vinci wakes up Habignan. She's been having quite the cat nap, somehow sleeping through the calamities. And Da Vinci asks Habignan if she's going to be able to help us as we deal with these final calamities, especially finishing off Cairnanos. Habignan agrees and just says Da Vinci's going to have to carry her, though, because she still doesn't have much strength. I know Da Vinci. I know that Da Vinci isn't a human, nor is she a fairy. Heck, that Gouda and their friends probably didn't even know. She's stronger than a human or a fairy. And has way more life energy. Before everything ends, I should... Da Vinci comes down the stairs, saying she's picked up Tiffany the Second, and is getting ready to return. So, it would be best if she just stayed here forever. Right. You'll be able to live a much better life in here than out there. Da Vinci comes downstairs and thanks Mike for helping her out, saying he was a real lifesaver. Without his help, she certainly wouldn't have been able to have such a fun journey. If it wasn't for him calling out to her on that day, then things never would have come together so well. She tells him to keep working hard, living out his fun days, and she's just gonna go out there and save the world real quick. All right, you make sure to take care of yourself. I'm just gonna go save the world real quick. While heading to the exit, Da Vinci turned her back and exposed her unguarded backside. At this rate, Da Vinci was gonna leave forever. Leave forever. Leave forever. And I would return to my old boring self. I can't have that. That's scary. Scary. I'm so afraid I just can't handle it. I need Da Vinci. Da Vinci needs to stay here. If she does, we can live a little longer. The door opens, and she quickly leaves. The knife I had hidden drops to the ground. While making a disgusting face, I watch her back as she leaves. That's right. Da Vinci is Da Vinci because she is free. She'll go wherever she pleases because she's Da Vinci. She'll spread her wings in this limited time and chase aberrations. And that's why I have to watch her off and smile until the very end. Because in this fairy kingdom, anything is achievable. I thought this world was nothing but a dream, but I was wrong. Because a true dream is something you can never grasp hold of. That's why every day can be painful, but also exciting. Because of that, I have the strength to keep moving forward, even if this world is about to end. Even if we become pitiful monsters. Yeah. Goodbye, my dear friend from a faraway world. For coming to Britain. For coming to my shop. For making every day like a dream. Thank you. The angel flies away on her wings. Even though the town is dangerous, she leaves without hesitation and flies away. Mike was one of the good ones. Mike was one step away from turning into a moss and attacking Da Vinci from behind and stopped himself. Mike is a champion. All right. Our two groups are now returning to the storm border. Gordolf is now presenting us with our final debriefing. Gordolf tells us to make sure that we use any trump cards that we've got hidden up our sleeves because I know you people always have something. And destroy Cairnanos once and for all. He tells us not to hold anything back and that this is our last chance. Also, I do love how Gordolf literally says, use any trump cards you have up your sleeves because you people always hide something. It's a good line. Roger. All right. Holmes is here to tell us that Cairnanos is likely to see us as a proper threat this time with Castoria on board. On top of that, she should be the main target that he goes for. We cannot do any evasive maneuvers, so we have set up anti-curse measurements thanks to Grimm's help. That way, we won't instantly be taken down just by those cursed arms reaching out for us. Thanks, Grimm. With all preparations now in place, it is time for us to head out to eradicate Cairnanos once and for all. We'll be at the hole in just a bit. Are you nervous? Yeah, definitely. It's a little embarrassing, though. Me too. After all, we're going to fight a god. So, Castoria says it's reassuring that someone like us could still get nervous after everything we faced on our journeys. She then thanks us and says that she'll be returning to Avalon after we defeat Cairnanos. Well, hold on. So, after we defeat Cairnanos, she shall be returning to Avalon. She says she's just remnants and will need to return to Avalon to slumber in the first place. Castoria says she knew she'd have to return for a while now. It's painful, but she can't do anything about it. She wanted to repay us because, for a Fairy of Paradise, saving Britain is their duty. But we tried to help. We joined her on her journey while having nothing to do with this world. So just once, she really wanted to have the same objective as us. Oh, by the way, if I were to ask you, Gouda, what was the most fun experience you had while on this journey? That would be, we chose Edinburgh's chocolate. So the three choices there were Salisbury's Child of Prophecy incident, the Drake lake diving, or Edinburgh's chocolate. We chose Edinburgh's chocolate, which, that's a good face. If you choose the Child of Prophecy incident, that was the first one I chose, she makes the really embarrassed face. And how about you, Artoria? Well, for me it would be... She says her favorite event was on the 14th day in the Forest of Wales when we were able to have have our handshake for the third time. And on top of that, we even said we were here to help the Child of Prophecy. Woohoo! Man, you were so cool! Blush. Yes, and for that, I want to give you this. Our fourth handshake. Thanks for everything up to now, Artoria. Alright, we're making contact. Prepare for battle in 2 minutes. Alright, see you after. But really, the most fun day was the 11th day in Gloucester. To you, it might have just been an ordinary day, but for me, it was the first time in my life I was able to walk down a big road with someone I liked. I want to be on the Castoria route, please. All right. Captain Nemo and the Marines are flying us toward the pit as cursed hands will begin popping up all around us. Grim says just leave this to him. He'll get us through. The Lake of Mimir, the ley line of Yadorigi. Sever the past and become the leaves that will branch out to the future. For these 9 days, I will not permit any misdeeds. Go beyond the horizon. Great God Festival! Are you sure he's a 3-star? Amazing! All those hands just disappeared in a wave of light. And there's not even a second wave coming. God damn it. Lost an eye. Don't worry, he's fine. He says the curse was bounced back at him, yelling, "Hey, Caldia, you've only got one chance, and this is it." In case you were wondering if he was Odin, he lost his left eye, so there you go. Holmes says this is it. We have no time to spare before the curse will take us. We'll be doing long-range summons to battle. Our objective is Cairnanos of the Giant Hole. Here and now, we shall sever Britain's calamity. And then you have a really insanely difficult fight. Cairnanos is basically this world's fight against the Lostbelt tree, and boy is it the hardest one by a lot. He is really strong. Can I replay the fight for you? No, Smile. It's an insanely hard fight. Even if I could, I would say no. This is probably the hardest fight we've had so far. I could not do it without using at least one revive. All right. Let's continue. This is true. Even though we've beaten it so hard, it's not working. Munier says it's still rising up and rapidly recovering. Everything we've done doesn't seem like it's had any effect. Mesh says we have defeated Cairnanos multiple times, but the damage isn't sticking. It's recovering because we aren't exercising the source of the cursed energy. Nice eye patch. Grimm says it's probably because of its divine core. And not only that, but it seems something entered into its heart with a great desire to curse the fairies, and is the reason why it's continuing to function. Now, I wonder who that could be. Grimm says we're gonna need a weapon that can destroy a god's core. And we've been setting up for this the whole time. That's right. The Rongominid over at Camelot. The holy lances that were prepared. For all this time, this was the end of our journey. For the true king to sit upon the throne and use Rongominid. But wait, where's Artoria? Mash, prepare for a defensive battle. Yes, we will get this done. We're gonna protect Artoria. When I entered Camelot, it was a dead castle. There were no fairies, no humans, no corpses, no moss. Every life had been snuffed out. There was just a single girl running down the hallway as fast as she could. After jumping off the storm border, she ran down the corridors to the throne room. She ran towards the throne. It's gotta be here. It needs to be here. Gouda once told me to believe in my instincts, so I can't stop moving. She was out of breath, but not from battle fatigue. She was focused on that giant beast behind the walls of the castle. The Enshrined God, Cairnanos. Its curse was quiet, but oppressive in filling the atmosphere. I can feel it, swelling from the bottom of the pit. Before they went to the spirit cave, Camelot was destroyed by the curse that spilled forth from the pit. It happened 1 hour after Cairnanos began to stand up. There was no time. At best she had 5 minutes, and at best she had 10 minutes, and at worst 5. In that time, she must reach the throne room, analyze what Morgan left behind, and tailor it for her own use. If it was the me from back then, I'd just call this impossible and try to find something else. But she knew. This time she could do it. After all, the one who returned from the place of selection isn't just her. Because half or more of her is an existence of a what-if. Half of her was the what-if of if she had pulled the sword from selection. If she held the holy sword in her hand and brought upon a new era as the king of Britain. She felt her existence merge with that self from proper human history. I'm not at the center. I'm at the corner. No matter what happens in a time like this, I would remember what my magic teacher would say. A nostalgic folktale, made from many miracles. A tale with no name. I found it. That cross. Then this should be... You can see all the fluff behind it. Morgan's throne room. By storing the magical energy of the lives of the fairies around Britain, the manifestation of holy lances from Tonelico were here. Behind that throne was a balcony to observe the great pit. And there was the Enshrined God, just standing there. 14,000 years of rot preparing to lift off. Her breath struggled. Those looks, the lack of speech, resembled its death. The god's anger was justified. The god's curse was justified. Those fairies had killed him. His good intentions led him astray into his death. And his beloved priestess was tortured, her life stolen. For 14,000 years, those sinners went unpunished. This calamity was not just hatred. It was anger mixed with a sense of duty to finish its job. It knew these creatures could not be left unguided. As he was the one who had let them live, he was trying to put an end to it. Even so, I think you're making a mistake. Even if this country was filled with sinners, even if you decided they all were, you should have created a system of laws to let them forgive themselves instead of punishing them with death. She focused herself on the throne, and all 12 lances were concentrated at once. It rose and rose. It rose at the speed of light from the ground. The curse of the end. The curse itself almost knows what's about to happen, trying to stop what she is about to do. 14,000 years. The curse of the fairies' lives and deaths poured out from the ground like a flood. Amazing. She really was a genius. She thought of this not due to hesitation, but out of respect and admiration for Morgan. Not just using fairies, but all of Camelot as a mystic weapon. Even though it was such a great technique, it was simple enough that even a common country bumpkin fairy could understand how to operate it. She was truly a divine genius. She must have been the greatest fairy to ever come from paradise. The problem was, the setup was structured only for a genius to handle. The entire magic field poured into her body. She had no magical circuits of her own, so what came from the throne was magical energy like fireworks. Using her blood vessels, her nervous system, her flesh and bone, she tried to spread the magic. Her consciousness shattered. Her eyeballs felt like they were going to explode. Her lungs ruptured, and her legs felt like they were going to snap. But with this time she wouldn't run away. Her conviction was true, and she would not run. Activating Rongominid. 12 directional round table lances. Pierce through. Opening all ritual gates. The Savior Lance. Rain down upon them like Okni. You thought one Rongominid was strong. Try 12! It was tremendous firepower. Even Camelot's walls were set ablaze by it. But it was not enough to pierce the stacked layers of curses. If there were fairies standing there, they'd probably start laughing at her. Even using the weaponry created by Queen Morgan herself, she was unable to kill this god. No, I just didn't use it right, that's all. She blinked even though her eyes were no longer functioning. She swallowed the blood, trying to escape her mouth. That anger was directed at the fairies, not at Cairnanos. You still didn't give it your all, she told herself. Because after all, she still held back some tiny remnant, some desire to return. What do you mean, just a little more? That little bit more is all that's left. She was supposed to die at the place of selection, and the only reason she could maintain herself till now was thanks to a friend from her journey, who always had her back, and gave her the time to do what must be done. Then I'll give it all, here and now. I'll use everything I've got. That's why I came here. The Holy Lance of Rongominid was created specifically for Morgan. It's only natural she wouldn't be able to operate it perfectly. She couldn't use the Holy Lance, but she could use the construct. All she needed to do was shoot the Holy Lance multiple times, by filling it with a different type of bullet. She is currently the concept of the Holy Blade, so if she alters it with that... I'm connecting the throne's circuits to my heart, and I'll pour Camelot's magical energy into Avalon the Fae. I'm going to change Rongominid into Excalibur. Her cells burned. She shouts out in excruciating pain as if the cosmos themselves were burning. The cursed hand, reaching up trying to stop this, has reached the throne. It was just a moment, but the pain made the mere seconds feel like an eternity. She went back to her calm and warm memories. Morgan. She was the enemy of a faraway world. She remembered Norwich. I always thought I should have done this, or maybe it would have been better if I did that. But even these afterthoughts, even with those, she saw a bright picture. In the end, I wasn't able to beat you. I couldn't prove my strength or talk back to you. But a final chance was given to her. This was the final magical energy left in her body. By using it, she could prove who she is to everyone. So were you able to find your purpose? Your reason? No. I couldn't become my ideal self in the end. But she would still pull this through. Not as an emotionless queen protecting her throne, but as a great savior to be respected. A grand person living for that purpose. I'll do what you couldn't do 2,000 years ago. Just watch me. She looked upon the giant before her, and would use her last strength for her duty as a fairy of paradise. She manifested every shape possible. She gathered all the magical energy into one spot, and... Holy Blade! Unsheath! Oh, Enshrined God, with this, please forgive our sins. Kinda wish this CG would have been Excalibur firing, but you know. It's still cool. Good job, Artoria. You did it. Only one thing was left behind. In the Winter Throne, there was a dried-up staff lying down like a sword, as though its job had been completed. The Nemos confirm that a supreme-level magic spell has come from Camelot and blasted through all layers of Cairnanos' curses. Its core has been exposed. That's Cairnanos' core! Gordolf says, well done, Caster, but it looks like the flesh is reforming. The core is beginning to revive itself. It's reforming its flesh and skin. Nemo tells us to evacuate in the Shadow Border while he and the other the Nemo Marines will crash the Storm Border into the core. Da Vinci says no, that won't be necessary. If the divine core of Cairnanos has already been exposed, then our job is done. Gouda and Mash can handle the rest. Gouda, head out to Mash. After all, to kill a god, she's gonna need your command seals. Mash is saying Artoria sacrificed everything to give us this opportunity. If only she didn't run away at that time, then she'd have something to deal with this. Yeah, you were crying a lot too back then. I understand. You were running from battles. Even though you looked so courageous, you sure hated those battles. I just instinctively said you sure hated Beryl, you know. Even now, that hasn't changed. But you can see what has changed, though. Now you have the will to fight. A heart willing to fight for others. And even for yourself. So I won't have to keep this on me any longer, huh? Eh? You're Habitat-san. Yeah. Here's all the equipment you left back in Sheffield. This stuff shouldn't exist in Britain in the first place, and it's important in this situation. You called this the Black Barrel, right? You can't just go for getting this, Mash. Totoro, remember, this Lostbelt is nothing but a what-if world. In actual history, in the ages of fairies, Mash does not exist. Right now, it's just Galahad. We need to make sure that you and I are not remembered by Mash. Yada! I don't want Mash to forget about me! Totoro says Mash is surely going to face many hardships and she wants to protect her. So she's going to get the Sage Grim to create a frozen casket, an ice casket for her as well. Same as Mash. I have to keep my promise with her. I have to give her the best bridal dress possible. Tonelco says she can't do that or she would disappear. If she tries to travel through time in a coffin, it won't work. But if she does want to help Mash, then she must prepare herself. She will need to live for a very long time. If Mash remembers her at all, she will cease to exist in that timeline. Even if she meets with Mash, all memories of her shall be forgotten. They must not know that Totodrot is a fairy knight of the first generation. So Tonelco will wipe Mash's memories. You won't be able to tell anyone about the fairy calendar or about what you've seen, Totodrot. That's right, Totodrot is a fairy knight. Habenyan was a fairy knight all along. So, Tonelco is going to wipe all of Mash's memories for her, meaning after all of this, once Mash has thawed out, Totodrot must leave her be because if Mash were ever to remember her, she would cease to exist. Just like a midsummer night's dream. When the sunlight crests the mountains, you will awaken and be naught but a dream. Totodrot, no, Habitat-san. How could I have forgotten you? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. But I'm so happy I was able to meet with you again. No, I've always wanted to see you again, and you've been protecting me this whole time. That's right, and we made a promise, didn't we? So here, Mash, I'm returning this. I put it inside of my spinning wheel. I bet you didn't notice, huh? The black barrel. Is that why you were so heavy that time? And that's right. I swiped it from right under Barrel's nose. Aren't I amazing? Yes, as expected of you. I never noticed anything at all. Habitat-san. The morning bells are calling. I see that my dream has come to an end. I did everything I wanted to. I was able to keep my most important promise. So Habitat will be taking her leave now. It's a shame I couldn't see the happy ending. But you guys will pull it off. I'm sure your celebration day will be a most beautiful clear sky. Wait! Wait! Is it because I remembered? Is this all because I remembered you, Totodrot? Why? 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 Why would you go so far for someone like me? It hurts. It hurts good. I don't care for anything like justice or the value of someone. I just wanted you to be happy. After all, we all worked so hard for it, right? Tonelico, Ector, Linek, even Grimm. Everyone may be gone now, but our journey was great. And besides, I'm the ally of brides. So I need you to smile for the future to come. No, please don't disappear. I'll take it all back. I'll forget it all. I'll forget everything about you, Habitrot. So please, don't disappear. The one who was working harder than anyone else, while crying the whole time for your goal, was you after all. Geez, don't say something like that all of a sudden. But yeah, I really want to make sure you never forget me. Me and Tonelico and our beautiful Britain. Make sure you don't forget any of it. Yes. Yes. Oh, it seems we're out of time. And Gouda's running over here too. So be sure to put that Cairnanos to sleep. He's been suffering a lot too. This is just one result for someone who messes with dreams. Even if it may be cruel, there was something shining there. So hold your head high. Show Fairy Knight Totodot just how cool you can be, Mash. Of course. Please watch over me, Totodot-san. Mash, I'm using a command seal. Yes, I'm done running away. As a knight who journeyed through the altars, I shall destroy this calamity of Britain. And that's the end of Balbonshi and Cairnanos. Target hit. It's disappearing. Did you see that, Habitrot? Thank you so much. Fairy Knight Totodot, Spinwheel Habitrot. If I could ever become your dream, then I would never feel more proud. Goodbye. I hope you will be blessed like a flower. Wow, that hit me a lot harder the second time through, huh? Whew. Sorry about that. I'm all choked up. Okay. The sky has turned gold. And next is... Nemo congratulates us for a job well done. We've destroyed the god and the curse is done. We're gonna prepare to head back to Gnome Caldia. Grim says, yeah, you guys did it. It's a victory that's kinda hard to be proud of, though. Sacrifices had to be made. But those two believed in us, and they made the sacrifices for our sake. We have to hold our head high and move on to our true battle with the foreign god. Grim, your body is... Yep, that's right. Grim begins disappearing since his job has been completed. He said he was able to do his job as one of the helping hands of proper human history. As one of the helping hands of proper human history. Mash asks what Grim is going to be doing after all this. If he'll be registered as Caster Ku from now on or not. He says, hey, Grim, I'm Grim. Don't call me that name. It's going to lower my magical power. But he says, if permitted, he will try to join Caldia. But he has his suspicions that we'll meet again. So Grim's gone too. All that's left is... Mash says it's time for us to leave. She'd like to see Britain back on its feet one last time before we leave, though. Now that the calamities have all been solved. Da Vinci's like, yeah, that's right. Wait a second. Certainly the curse has disappeared, but... What is this? Something else is spilling forth from the pit. The Nemo Marines detect something is coming from out of the hole. The land is shattering and things are starting to collapse. For some reason, they've confirmed that 1 hour from now, the collapse will complete and the planet will be shattered. What are you talking about? But we destroyed all the calamities. There's nothing left to threaten Britain. So why is the collapse starting? There are no enemies left. Of course it is. You saw the last enemy. You saw the main enemy right at the beginning. You just didn't perceive it as such. Don't you remember the mural in Londinium? Before the priestess of Cairnanos was ripped apart, she left a prophecy of destruction. As the world becomes new, the core grows old. With no one knowing, just like that, with just One small bug bite, everything crumbles apart. That wasn't talking about the future of Britain. It means that no matter how strong human history is, if you were to take a little bite in its core, in the roots, well, as you can see, the entire planet will turn to nothing. Oberon! I knew it. Just as I thought. Huh? You knew it was me, Gouda? I was planning this for so long, it's kind of embarrassing for you to say that. Well, not that it matters. It's not like I was hiding anything from you in the first place. Because amongst all the players, you had the least important role. Oh yeah? What's wrong, Blanca? Your beautiful antennae aren't moving anymore. Ah, I see, you must have died. Perhaps it was the infection of the moss. I guess you took on all the poison that was pointed at me from Britain, didn't you? Thank you. Well, whatever. Oberon? That's Oberon? No, he certainly has the vibrance of a fairy king, but what is the meaning of this? From your report, Da Vinci, Oberon was our collaborator, and he was summoned from proper human history. But in reality, his Saint Graph etching does not exist. No, he's neither human nor fairy. He is no life form we've ever encountered before. Is that truly Fairy King Oberon? What do you mean, truly? We've analyzed him and... Eh? I can't lock onto him with the border's radar. Well, I can, but it's like I can't. His data keeps shifting. His sync graph is changing constantly. It's almost like there's no confirmation of his sync graph at all. It's like the Invisible Man. Then this person, just who is he really? The Nemos suddenly detect a giant distortion forming in the north. They identify it's some sort of living creature, but they can't lock onto it or detect it. The Sheba lens has gone black. Our future has ended. There's some sort of dimensional hole to the north. They can't get it up on the monitor. Holmes says, Gouda, what do you see in that direction? Ah, I can clearly see it. Mash-ass Master, what is that thing? It looks ominous, as if it's eating the land itself. Just what sort of creature is it? That's probably an insect. That's right, just one insect. As you can see, it is the concept of an insect. It is supposed to eradicate Britain and bore holes into the planet. Just think of it as an earthworm eating the land. And technically, I am the same as that. Well, I'm not really sure which of us is the real body and which is the shadow, though. You! Who the hell are you? Oberon, tell me your true name right now. Sure, since it's you and all, and you asked nicely, I'll gladly do so. Hey, remember when that one knight that used camouflaging was suddenly eaten away with this noise? Hey, remember when Murian got impaled by someone's hand? And it had a black gauntlet on it. Senpai, Oberon-san's appearance... No, even the shape of his saint graph has... My goodness, those fairies sure did have some attitude. They lost their own land and even killed a god just for some tiny island. And after that, they got so bored they would keep piling corpses upon corpses until they created a huge land. For them to live that way for so long just makes me sick. Don't you agree, Gouda? I wonder if even you as a human being would think so. Now that you've seen Britain's true face, it really is disgusting. It's so disgusting, I want to plant seeds of calamity everywhere and burn it to nothing. Oberon. But honestly, Cairnanos was different. He was on the side of fairies no matter what I told him. So unless he disappeared, I could not surface. Morgan did her best not to defeat Cairnanos, but just to seal him away. It really was problematic. There was nothing I could do to defeat Morgan. That's right, chat. Morgan was that good. She was so good, she knew this fucker was hiding under Cairnanos. And Cairnanos was the only thing keeping him from coming out. For a world-ending cataclysm. So I waited until a human that could defeat Morgan arrived. They would unleash Cairnanos and defeat it once and for all. The Child of Prophecy stuff was just something that looked fun, so I joined in. Oh, well, I suppose I did help out a bit. To see that the Child of Prophecy's journey, the journey of the altars, would be successful. And as you can see, with your own 2 hands, you've made sure everything has died. Tell me your true name, Oberon! Very well. I am a figment of imagination from proper human history that has taken on the form of Fairy King Oberon. At the end of the Age of Gods, I wanted Britain's destruction more than any other. I am the manifestation of the Isles of Britain themselves. My name is Vortigern. Oberon Vortigern. I'm just an insect from hell that worked with you to bring ruin to the fairy kingdom of Britain. Saint Graph revealed. Pretender. That's a cool animation. Oh, nice of him to show up right as I'm busy crying over Habitrot. No time for mourning, only time for more. Alright, chapter 30. A Midsummer Night's Dream. The Isle of Britain is crumbling. A building of humanity. A remnant from the past with corpses piled upon corpses. The land withers and dies. Body by body, piece by piece, everything flies into the air to be consumed by the insect. The northern land disappears like winter snow. the southern land blows away like ashes. Any remnants of life clasped their hands as they fell into the abyss, as if everything from the becoming was naught but a single dream. So hey, remember when every time you used Oberon across the course of Lostbelt 6, he had a different class? The Nemo Marines say we can't get an identify on the class of the servant because his Saint Graph keeps shifting. Even Holmes says he doesn't know what class he might be. He goes on to say, with every hero there is an anti-hero, and furthermore are those that would deceive others and fake their way into history. A pretender, one who plays a false role, not a threat to humanity or a beast, but instead a threat to the planet itself. Gordolf is livid that the battle hasn't ended after all our efforts. We killed a god, come on, and demands an explanation. Holmes says the mouth of that insect is like a dimensional rift, and the world is being pulled into it. The world is collapsing into it, I should say. As though the plug was pulled from a bathtub and all the water is draining into it. At this point, now that the plug has been pulled, everything will naturally drain into that hole. Also, in terms of being a surprise final boss, this one's pretty good. Especially because the surprise final boss literally couldn't show up until the final boss right before it was beaten. And the final boss before that had to be beaten. It's good. It's layered properly. This Lostbelt has layers. So, Vortigern. Mash says she was King Arthur's archenemy. No? Who cares about King Arthur? Vortigern goes on to explain that Mash isn't thinking big enough. Vortigern is much more. He'd rather see the entire world destroyed before seeing an end to the Age of the Gods. After all, humans are disgusting. Then in that case, why do you want to eradicate the Earth? Again, humans are disgusting. Humanity disgusts them. It's like finding a bug hiding in the corner of your room and wanting to squish it. He goes on to apologize for deceiving us so much. And Mash feels confused. She feels that despite him being our enemy, for some reason he feels somehow trustworthy. Stop messing with Mash. Eh? What do you mean? Alright. We can tell him to shut his mouth, but I like the red choice. You're nothing more than a liar. Ah, it looks like you do understand me, don't you, Gouda? He says, certainly I lied to you a lot, but I did truly help you and believe in you during your journey. He says he had been planning this for longer than anyone could think, but he needed so much setup, so many materials, and he would only get one shot at it. But luckily for him, when he saw us, again, because there's no way he was going to be able to outsmart Morgan. She was too smart for her own good. But luckily for him, when he saw us, he knew he had found the most useful kind of idiot. That we would be able to cleanly defeat everything in his way for him. That we were the best possible actor to get him to the final act of his play. Well, thanks for that. He goes on to say that we've given him hope beyond measure. I wanted to let you go, but I think I'm gonna have to destroy Caldia after all. He says he just wanted to destroy Britain, but he wants to erase humanity as a whole. And since it's Caldia's job to stop something like me, I've got no choice but to deal with you. What's going on? Why are we falling towards that insect? Munier says that the insect of hell is, or the giant insect thing is now taking aim at the storm border, and they can't get away from it. We're bathed in pitch black. We got sucked into the inside of it. Munier asks what we can do. Nemo says to prepare the stage 2 engines and take emergency maneuvers. We can't afford to fall into this deeper into this collapse. When I was born, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even move a single fingertip. My entire body was rotten. It was just a dark puddle I was just a dark puddle in a cocoon. But even so, oh wait, chat, don't look, you haven't paid for his OnlyFans. Avert your eyes from the naked boy. Do you know how I felt to wake up to the feeling of the morning sun's rays? The outskirts of the fairy kingdom, the autumn forest. A place where all the fairies with nowhere to go, all the rejects and victims gathered. Where they would go to die off, the autumn forest. Those who had nowhere to go and nowhere to live. While they were hated, they would wither away until they were forgotten. But even so, a cocoon was birthed. The cocoon looked like a fairy, but was actually a final weapon created by the Isle of Britain to bring about the end. How disgusting. This history has continued on for over 10,000 years. I want to get rid of everything that lives here. Destroy the island itself. Born of all the hatred and discrimination of the living creatures, in this toxicity, a single insect was born from their prayers. But its throat was still that of an insect's, so its birth was tragic. But it had a beautiful body, pitiful but strong wings. The insects there must have thought he was their king. The autumn forest fairies surrounded this cocoon and watched over it until it stood on its own. Oh, disgusting. When it stood up, it was no longer an infant cocoon. When it stood up, it became the ideal fairy king to bring about the end they were waiting for. A fairy king created by a famous genius. After the King of Moss, what's next? Okay, so this is the summoning system, huh? A servant. Born of human desires, it can be real, fake, or whatever. I guess it takes many shapes. Oberon was a fairy that existed in proper human history, and was now in the fairy kingdom. But this Oberon, claiming to be the king, was no more than a liar wearing a facade. After all, he came from a tale with no truth in it, from a single crazy night. Amazing. Anything I say or do, it all gets twisted in its meaning. What he says he loves, he does not love. What he says he does not love, he does not even like. That was Oberon's personality. As he was a heroic spirit now, it was his true nature. There was no changing it. Well, oh well. I was preparing to fool everyone anyway. Then again, since this thing drifted into Britain... Doesn't that damn Morgan hate proper human history? She acts a lot more like she loves it. That was the day the Fairy King was born. It was at a time when the song of the prophecy of the child was gaining traction. The king knew about proper human history, but this time he would be more diligent than ever before. He would study the story of King Arthur's battle with Morgan. He would learn how to use this fairy of paradise for his own means. When I was born, I could not even breathe. I couldn't even move a single fingertip. My entire body was rotten, just a dark puddle in a cocoon. And within, a sea of squirming insects surrounding garbage. That was the world before me. From the wastelands of the Isle of Britain, Oberon was born. Oberon has no love for any living thing on this island. With the duty to destroy the island of the Fairy Kingdom. Why should I have to do that? He would say while rotting away. I say that, but now that I'm alive, I guess I have to. But my body still can't move. I feel like I might die just trying to breathe. I feel like my fingers will fall off if I move my fingertips. And above all else, the lives of these bugs make me sick. Oberon, while in his larval state, could not close his eyes. And so he could not ignore what was in front of him. Swarming, crawling, squirming, wriggling, gathering and swarming. For half a year, these insects lingered around and stared at Oberon. Oberon was born from an ugly, muddy pollution. Within the cocoon was a muddy liquid. All he could see was a muddled sight. A muddied sight. The sight of weaklings with no ambition, drifting away and clinging to hope. It disgusted him. For them to rely upon a skinny, weak deceiver disgusted him. For them to declare this squirming thing their king disgusted him. And above all else, for him to accept this unto himself was the most disgusting thing of all. It was the same as gathering around the corpse of a butterfly. That was the garbage land he woke up in. A heart born of hatred, not directed at anyone. Not directed at the insects gathering around him, not at himself. It's just that he was constructed with the feeling that everything in this world is worthless. Oh, what a good counterpoint to Oberon's birth. Well, that was his experience. Do your best, Gouda. Just a little bit more to go. In the end, you're gonna find something amazing to flip the script, right? That star is... Eh? You're alive? That's weird, even after falling down here. Did you somehow overcome despair at some point or something? Where am I? Vortigern says that we are inside, that the insect has swallowed the world and we are within it. He invites us to walk around the ship, chat a bit, since we're here anyway. He goes on to say that he's already killed everyone within the ship. We're falling into an infinite hole where we will fall forever. He's killed Mash. He's killed everyone inside the ship. Everyone is dead. The only way out of here would be to kill him. But there's no one that can help us anymore. Even if there were anyone around, they wouldn't be able to wake up in the first place. He goes on to say staying alive in here would be the worst kind of hell, because we're constantly falling into an infinite void without end. So really, if he kills us, it's more a mercy killing than anything. In other words, you're saying that there's no help coming. But Oberon, aren't you falling into this void too? He says, yeah, I guess. But now that the insect of hell is out, the entire world will be swallowed up in due time. It doesn't matter if he was in here or out there. It's all over. He says we won't be able to summon anything since humanity has no concepts in this dimension. He says we're running out of time because Lostbelt Britain is no more, and we're returning to a normal time flow. As Caldia had predicted, there will be less than 24 hours before everything will be swallowed up. It won't take even a minute to devour the entirety of the Earth. So really... Oh, hold on. So really, you have no choice but to fight me, and I'll have no choice but to kill you. But it's not so bad a way to die, is it? Yeah, I guess you're right. Whoa, you really just swung at me without hesitation. Aren't you way too resistant for situations like this? Well, if you really want to die, I'll fulfill your prayers, my friend. After all, fighting an unwinnable fight is so fun. Oh no, I have a way to win. Huh? Where? She should be here any second now. I already told you, help isn't coming. And like you said before, we're just bystanders, right? The main actor is still needs to come. Come, Caster! You're... The third ascension is here, baby! After all, Oberon told us Caldi is nothing but a bunch of bystanders. And if we're a bunch of bystanders, the main heroine has to take the stage for the final act. As I have contracted with the foreign mage before, I have answered this summoning. This fight is not to admonish Britain, but to save the world. No matter the time or the place, this blade shall always be in her hand. I assume if you're male, it would always be in his hand. I've heard those bells ring many times, but they were not bells of subjugation. The bells would keep calling my name. Calling out to you, believing in you, the nostalgic sounds of the bells. I was constantly running through the storm, through the cauldron of evil, a cloud of true intentions. The muddied water would not change. It was dark, it was cold, and I would hear the true evil within their hearts. The young me. No, 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 no! How many times did I tell myself it was impossible? How many times did I think I would be better off dead? But the reason I didn't lose my way and kept on running was because of that light. Beyond the storm was that one small, glistening, sparkling star. I would stand up even after crying. I would raise my head even when tired. No matter the time or place, the faraway star would shine on me. Even within all this evil, there is still a handful of human kindness. A future so bright, one day I could reach it. No, it's impossible. It's impossible. I have to not care about it. The star was shining in front of me, but it was the one objective I wanted to reach. Because I knew someone aside from me was looking out upon that star as well. That was the hope that it gave me. No matter what storm I was in, no matter the struggle, it was an unchanging fact. Ah, I see. So I was just like that then. I was afraid of many things. I didn't believe in much, but the light of that star was always encouraging her. You and that star may have no connection at all, but that star will never reveal itself for you, but it will never fall for you, but yeah, it's not about Britain or the future. As long as that star is shining with hope, no matter what storm humanity faces, no matter what the times of suffering she had to endure, she kept watching that star. Because that light was all that shined through this storm. I won't do this for society, for peace, or even myself. I was always shining, and I don't want to betray the hope of that tiny star's light. But from here on, there was nothing. By accepting the bells, I would end my journey with you. Because after that, your life would not be proper. Just like that girl's white castle, you would not have a happy ending. That girl of the white castle, you know, Saber. You will continue this far. You would take the name of the king, and you would disappear. You would no longer be needed. Can you do it? All for the sake of that one little star. I don't want to betray the expectations of that star, was it? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Are you going to do it for that stupid reason? The, suffering you, or disappointed you. The voice that cursed me to end Britain, The voice that pushed me to the duty of the Fairy of Paradise. Thousands of years, tens of thousands of complaints, billions of voices cursing me. That is the feeling of evil. In reality, there is no glistening star within the storm. If that was my thought process, I wouldn't be able to save anyone but myself. Huh? Who's there? Who's protecting me? You're not saving me, but your hand is outstretched. And desperate for me. You who lost your life on a whim. I have forgotten you. Someone who never changed until the very end. Her name was... I see. It's sad you don't have a name. So how about this? Why don't you use my name? Artoria Castor. Artoria or Castor, either is fine. Honestly, I don't want to use that name anymore, so you can use it as you please. Thank you. I'll treasure it. I'll really treasure it. Not just your name, but your heart, forever and ever. Her true name was Hope. At the end of the end, she found the starlight. She was giving hope to everyone. Sorry. She was giving hope to everyone who was in trouble, even when tired or weak. She would not forget to smile. Because she remembered that kind gesture, she's been protecting me this whole time. From just that small talk, she believed in me even till now. It wasn't something special. It wasn't something praiseworthy. But from another's perspective, it might have had no reason or sense, but... No. Thank you for cherishing it. That's right. Even I didn't have a great sense of reason for this. She and I are no different. I have nothing to be proud of or any amazing talent. It's all just a facade. There's no reason for envy, and I'll surely never meet her again. But even so, who cares? That's all I need. I just don't want to betray this star. I don't want to cast aside these feelings. Because of what we've done, because of what you've done, the reason cannot be any grander. And so every day, I'll be sure to do my best. You may be holding back. It may just be self-fulfillment, and in the end you may not know why. And from another's perspective, it may be some ridiculous reason. But I will only believe in that. I can only believe in that. And because of that, I was able to continue running forward. Goodbye, younger you. From now on and forever. The heartbeat of the star in my breast, the tone of the bell, will soon resonate throughout my body. She reached the star. To fulfill my contract with the foreigner mage, I have answered this summons. Not in a battle to admonish Britain, but in a battle to save the world. No matter the time or the place, this blade shall be in her hand. Vortigern is shocked, surprised that Castoria has become what she has. But, well, it's already too late. Her world's been destroyed. She's exited the stage. The play has come to a close. But Castoria says she agrees with Vortigern that the Fairy King of the Kingdom of Britain was supposed to come to an end. But spreading that beyond is unforgivable. You are as miserable and disgusting as a worm, she says. Oh, it's good. It's good. Insult him more. Oh, damn, she turned his words against him. Artoria got really strict, huh? Where am I? What was I doing? Oh, she's up. Mash! Thank goodness you're okay. Mash has woken up, and Artoria-san. Vortigern is surprised that Mash was able to wake up. He surmises that Artoria's arrival must have allowed this. Artoria says, Mash, Gouda, we are going to cut down this insect of hell before it leaves Britain to the outside world. Vortigern says, well, I've prepared for something like this anyway. He says he is ready to bring this third-rate play to an end, even if he has to do it himself. So come on, Gouda, show your smug-ass face as you battle to protect humanity personally. As you wish, and the red option is, I want to hear this one more time. What's that? What is your objective? What? But I've already told you so much. He says he just wants to wipe everything out to zero, because life disgusts him. If you had fun on your journey, then I'm glad. Well, you know that everything I say is a lie, so there's no reason to believe me, though. Artoria's role, her duty, this journey, I couldn't have cared less. That may be true, but what about when you were talking about your shining star, Titania? Ah, I really do hate that part of you. The sin of the collapse, the traces of twilight. It is all like a midsummer night's dream. My name is Oberon. Oberon Vortigern. I will fight you as a threat to humanity, the trigger of the Final Pitfall. I'm different from a beast, and I will never obtain love. Let this battle prove it to you. Now let this tragedy come to a close. This is the end of the journey of the altars. Oberon-sama, Oberon-sama, everyone, Oberon-sama's home. Tell us. Tell us the stories of those bastards outside that you killed. Vortigern finds us here and says This is nothing but a dream, so I guess you must have already died. Either that or you just fell asleep and couldn't make your way outside. So, he says there's no point in us pursuing him here. He's told us everything already. We're kind of wasting our time. There's still one thing I want to hear. And the second option, this is the end, so I want to hear the truth. Huh? Is there something wrong with your head? Do you have the memory of an insect or something? Like you said, Oberon, you are a great liar. Exactly. I did say that. So I guess I lost, huh? Alright then, the truth, fine. He says he became an avatar of Vortigern, but is still part Oberon. He says everything in Fairyland was just a story. Nothing more than a picture book drawn by Morgan. But Caldia came in and denied her dream, telling her it had no meaning or value. And Vortigern says that didn't sit well with him. He says Morgan worked extremely hard to bend her dreams into reality. For Caldia to just come by and trample all over it makes him hate us. That's... So you're angry about how we treated her story? He says yes, of course. No matter how cruel things were on the surface, beneath that were people working together, stories that went untold. Not knowing the end page, they still had the right to exist. He says he was annoyed how humanity can just paint over previous stories and forget about them. That's why he wants to end everything in the first place. So there, are you satisfied now? Now hurry up and wake up. The morning lark and the night curtain are still something you don't need. Alright, see you later, shitty Caldia, and good luck on your next journey. Where are you going? Where are you going? We're coming with. Bye, Oberon's friend. Be sure to come visit the Forest of Whales. Be sure to visit Oberon again. Ah! Oberon! The enemy servant has fallen from the ship. Castoria detects that there was fatal damage to his Saint Graph. A holy blade such as hers is like poison to his body. And now he will fall into that pit forever. It's kind of, No, it's fine. It's what he wanted. Castoria says goodbye once more. Tells us to give our regards to Merlin, to Proper Human History's Merlin, for helping us. Yeah, and thank you. Nemo says this pitfall's connection to our world is starting to sever, so we're going to fly out of here as fast as possible. So we need to get inside the ship ASAP so we can get out of this thing. If we don't make it out, we'll be trapped in here forever once it severs its connection to our world. Castoria bids us goodbye once more and wishes us luck on our journey. And of course tells us that the Holy Blade will always be available for us when we need help to save the world. The Merlin that was talking to her through the staff was Oberon. In fact, Castoria never did any magic in the first place. Remember, all the magic that was talked about that she did, well, maybe she did minor magic, but the major magic was crafting bombs, lock-picking, scaling walls using rope and basically a grappling hook, all that kind of stuff. She wasn't actually doing much magic at all. Goodbye, my good friend. Alright, let's go, Mash. Alright, we return. It's time to get the hell out of here. Put those thruster jets on. Anyway, the way... One quick thing before we continue. The way you can tell that it wasn't Merlin talking to her, but Oberon, is because the staff itself slips in several things that only Oberon says. For example, calling everyone disgusting like insects, saying the world should disappear, saying that the current circumstances are not but a dream. You can consider some of that, like, not but a dream, a little bit Merlin territory, but even then, it's the exact same dialogue line that Oberon gives. So it's very much shown to you. All right, time to blast our way out of this hole. No, wait a second. We're in a bit of a tight spot here. We're in an infinite hole. A hole with no end. Conceptually, we'll never be able to reach the exit even if we try to head in that direction. On top of that, our resources are incredibly low and we're running out of time. Holmes says this is worse than being trapped in a black hole. Because at least a black hole has an exit. But right now we're in an infinite pitfall. The very concept of itself means there's no escape. But suddenly, an explosion. There's a massive opening right next to us now, all of a sudden. Albion has attacked the insect of hell. My strength is failing. This is my final sky. I see the horizon and slowly descend. I have no more reasoning. Everything that I was has shattered. What you see here is no more than flesh torn from a dragon's corpse. With no objective and no wishes, the fallen star has shattered. But for some reason, in her empty heart was the pain of a memory she needed to remember. Searching, searching, searching. The sceneries all shattered the moment they came up, while looking through her lost memories. In her cells, a small firework goes off. She realized who she was, what she is. Almost as though it told her why she was doing what she was doing. Hey, look, it's like nothing but the innocent fairies. Oh, never mind. Within what she saw was something that was trying to destroy this fairy kingdom. The White Dragon of Britain. She saw the world she loved being swallowed up. She saw the form of the end. She spread her broken wings and raised her crushed neck. Her scales and flesh would slowly tear away as she could not sustain herself. Accepting it all, the dragon began to fly. That's right. I have to fly. I have to fly. As a fairy, I have nothing to be proud of. I have nothing praiseworthy as a knight. From the beginning, I was just pretending. I was just a fake, but... She was not a British fairy. She was a higher life form, and not supposed to be compared to them. But the dragon that existed in this Lostbelt was still a proper human history creature. She traversed beyond comprehension, and had nowhere to go in this Britain. I was not allowed this land. It is not something I should have desired. I should have been happy for the scenery. I should have just stayed between the stars and the heavens. But she gained something. Even if it was ridiculous, she still obtained something. She can remember nothing else, but her memory circuitry told her. This machine's name, the memory, the name is... As the air pressure starts to shatter her form, she stopped looking like a dragon. At this pace, she would burn away what little life she had left. As a failure of a weapon, the dragon thought to itself. And on top of that, reason, unknown, objective, eradicate all that is trying to destroy Britain. With that fiery objective in her eye, she pushed her steel body. My name is Melusine. Fairy Knight Melusine. Fly, you idiot. Even if you're just a corpse, fly! She would fly to challenge the enemy up ahead. As the last creature on Britain, the dragon soared one last time and charged. That noise. She regained consciousness at the sound of the sound barrier being broken. It had been a while since the fairy knight had stabbed her. The girl lied there looking at the sky. It's very quiet now. I wonder if everyone has calmed down. I suppose so. Everyone was panicking. They must have fallen asleep because they got tired. See, didn't I tell you? If you had just waited, it would have been over. Any problem I had, you would always solve it for me. And look, it's just like I said. Cough, cough. Blood spills from her throat. While elegantly smiling, she tried to boast her greatness. But there is no one left in this room. There's no one even left in this town. All that is left is a dream of the past sinking into her. There's a bug on top of the table, talking to Aurora, praising her for her beauty. But this bug says that she shouldn't lift her own hands when she gets jealous of others' popularity. It says Aurora is perfect, except for when she gets like that. Aurora says, "What do you mean? I didn't do anything. Those things happened on their own." Regarding to Ainsel, the reinforcements at Londinium, those kinds of things that she had a hand in. Oberon, I'm sorry, the fairy on the table, the insect on the table, definitely not Oberon. Oberon says, "Oh, good, so you didn't do it on purpose." Says, "Anyway, it's fine. It just means that our plans have changed slightly." He then asks Aurora not to mess with Gouda and Mash as he needs us to defeat Morgan. Aurora asks if she can really trust him to do something like that. And Oberon says, of course, he's been working for the future of Britain this whole time. After all, he's been planning this all for Aurora so that she could take over, because she is perfect, and that means that she is the best possible candidate for queen. He then goes on to say, but don't trust him, don't trust everything he says, because everything he says is a lie. So it's the exact opposite of you, Aurora, because everything you say becomes true. You're so weird, Oberon. She goes on to say that, if everything you say is a lie, and you say everything I say becomes truth, and then doesn't that mean everything I say is a lie? He really was cute. I wish I had captured him and killed him myself. The most beautiful fairy in Britain. The brightest fairy in Britain. That was the objective she tried to reach, and how she lived for 3,000 years. Misinterpreting a lie was not sin. She had no understanding of evil. But she also had no understanding of good. It was all just a tool for her to shine brightly. But back then, just once, for some odd reason, just once, she did something selfless. In the year 1600 of the Queen's era at a lakeside, the girl and her bodyguards went to observe the town of the Mirror Clan. In the muddied lake, she had found a creature. It was squirming flesh. While it was rotting away, it was an excruciating sight. My. It was all in her calculations, of course, to have her bodyguards see and praise her. The most beautiful fairy in Britain saves the most pitiful fairy in Britain. She had only moved for that sake. My name is Aurora, and what is yours? But it was unexpected. The flesh tried to mimic a human cry. She had never seen anything so sad, and shockingly, a tear fell from her eye. She had never done anything like this before. She had never done anything aside from accomplishing her desires. But the actions and feelings from that moment. Really, I should never have touched it. The clump of flesh became a fairy, saying she wanted to be just like her. Aurora may be immortal, but she does age. As time went on, her wings glistening started to fade. If something new and fun didn't happen every day, her shine would start to fade. But that girl... She was strong, beautiful, and unfading. She was trying to imitate the one she admired, to hide that she was once that clump of flesh. See, even now you're there. What she sees is a dragon fairy flying through the sky. How frustrating. How envious. While I am here on the ground, muddied, that fairy is more beautiful than any other. You stupid girl. You should have just killed me. The dragon fairy began to return to the rotted flesh. The girl could never love the dragon. Her pride would not allow it. She wanted to torture the dragon by lying with words of love and see her suffer. And that despair will cause it. That dragon will struggle to sustain itself to protect her. But she did not end the girl's life for her own sake, but for the girl's own sake. I should say, the dragon did not end the girl's life for her own sake, but for the girl's own sake. Yes, that's right. My death is not scary. The only thing I was afraid of was no longer being special. And so, that's why. Even if that dragon were to return into the clump of meat, even though the angelic Aurora saved her and she loved her, she ended Aurora's life. Just how hateful is she? Finally, I can separate from you. Look, Oberon. Saying useless things is something a fool would do, right? All she could do was look on while her eyes still worked. Now disappear. Disappear. But even as she says those words, what came after was truly beautiful. For the first time, the girl acknowledged she did something good. Higher, higher, higher than ever before. The corpse of the dragon shatters as it accelerates. As a child looking at an airplane in the night sky, she loses her life looking upon it. That's a way out! Alright, back in the storm border. The hole that Albion has created is causing a gust of wind to release pressure, and we have a chance to get out. Oberon is falling. In a cave that has no end, a road with no destination, he has fallen. He has no strength to stand or fly. No, in the first place. The wings on my back were nothing more than an accessory. Did you really think I could fly, you idiots? He would laugh maniacally, but in reality he was in great pain. Even though he had lost, he completed his objective. He was still upset, though, that he couldn't drag Caldia down with him. Go on, leave. Go wherever the hell you want. I'm glad I'm never going to see you again. Little by little, they fade away. The foreign mage and the false child of prophecy. The allies he journeyed with are slowly leaving his sight. The great liar Oberon watched them, leaving with hatred. Well, whatever. My wish came true, and I was able to kill Britain. But still, the imaginary you, The Titania who loved someone as twisted as Oberon. Unfortunately, it seems I couldn't accomplish the dream of getting rid of proper human history. For your sake. Just as he was born is just how he exits, without any happily ever after. He could only exit in fairy tales, his love used like a sacrifice. Perhaps something similar might have happened if they had met earlier. But the great liar Oberon would not have accepted any of it. Even though I got beaten to a pulp, why do I feel so at peace? The hole to hell disappears. He will be falling forever. But within that, so that's the sky of proper human history. Damn. It sickens me to admit, but it's pretty beautiful. The lid to the infinite prison has now been shut. The insect of hell will fall for all eternity. Time for the epilogue. We did it. The end. The title of the epilogue is literally The End. Senpai! It's the outside sky! We did it! We've made it back into proper human history over Britain. Good job, everybody. Gordolf comes online and congratulates us on a job well done. With only 50 days, we were able to restore Sheba's lens to normalcy. The pitfall has been averted. The operation has been a success. Remember, Habitrot said our day of celebration would certainly be filled with a blue sky. Alright, Nemo says we're going to put the ship down and do assessments on the damages and get some repairs done. He suggests we all head outside while we can, tie a bow to this memory of Britain's Lostbelt. Take a good look at the land that's left over. Ah, it really is a beautiful blue sky. But the Isle of Britain is... The fairy kingdom of Britain has disappeared now. Yeah. But we reassure her that just because it's over doesn't mean it never happened. It doesn't mean there was no meaning behind it. Mash says yes. It was an incredible experience, and it's a journey that she'll never be able to forget. Da Vinci comes out with us because she was on the journey with us as well. She's come out here to have some drinks. Hell yeah, she brought the alcohol. And she even brought a glass for Mike. She came out to pour one out for her homies. She wishes him the best in whatever other world he might exist in. Yeah, that's right, Da Vinci-chan. Pour one out for Mike. Oh, also, there's something else I gotta tell you about. Something weird started happening. For some reason, the Saint Graphs started making all these nya-nya noises all of a sudden. Something weird is certainly to come out of it. I don't really know what's going on, so we gotta be ready for it. Mash says, not to worry. In the Fairy Kingdom, she got a major power-up. She's super Kyrie-lite now. So she can handle anything. About that, Mash. Yes, what is it, Master? Your Saint Graph has returned to normal. Usually super power-ups only have a short time limit, you know? Of course I know that. I'll just have to go be sad about this by myself later. Mash says she's very excited to see what new friend will come out of the summoning system, and is looking forward to it. Da Vinci says, I know, right? There could be all kinds of things that could come after that experience. And so we decide it's time to head back in and say goodbye to the land of Britain. Back in Caldia, the Trimegistus has observed that we were able to stop the dead end from occurring. With a 24-hour time limit at the hour 23 and 58 minutes, we were able to stop it. Well done, everyone. She says that's not everything. We still have to deal with that beast that escaped, Koyanskaya. But having defeated 6 Lostbelts and stopped the entire collapse of the world, the foreigner god should know that we're not to be messed with. After all, we won't be able to ignore each other any longer. She says we've had victories without sacrifices so far. But do you really think that we can keep that up? No, you're not supposed to end on a line like that. You're not supposed to end on a line like that, Shion. We had many sacrifices. Many sacrifices. I have cried many a tear during the recap summary of Lostbelt 6. Don't raise that flag. Honestly, I don't know if my heart could handle it. It's gonna be very sad when Gordolf makes a sacrificial play, when Munier does it. When Da Vinci does it. And that was Lostbelt 6. I hope everyone enjoyed my recapping of it. I know I called it a summary. I did do a lot of direct translation for stuff. Sorry about that, it took a while. But I think direct translations are necessary when you reach the climax of the story plot point stuff. So, you know. I wanted to do some justice to it. And I hopefully did a good job, and hopefully you enjoyed it all as well. Shoutouts to Nasu for making an incredibly well put together story.